He said that he wrote every single note from a state of higher consciousness and for the express purpose to uplift consciousness in other people. So it has that effect. And Yogananda said that he realized God in every single one of the chants that he's given us. And so it's like an open doorway. Every one of those chants is an open doorway to move into higher consciousness. All we have to do is attune ourselves. And that's everything. We just have to want to experience it, want to open ourselves to that music, and then it's just a gift, a open door to upliftment.
In the same way that devotional chanting for a Western ear is a little bit unusual, just a single melody line and repetition. The oratorio music may be a little bit unfamiliar to an Eastern ear, to an Oriental ear, because of the harmony, because of the intricacies of all of it playing together. It's something that we do. It's not something so much that I do personally. There are solos, yes, but the overwhelming power of the oratorio comes through in the choral pieces. It's really, that's those, however many they are, 15 or something of the pieces are these 4-part harmony songs. There are some duets and trios, but those songs really convey the spirit of it, and that's a different animal, that's a different vibration, and it's really helpful to think of it, to dive deep into it and meditate on it, because if you tug at it with your consciousness, the music keeps opening up. You've undoubtedly heard, maybe there's someone here who hasn't heard, Swamiji said multiple times, if you want to know me, listen to my music. And to that I would add, if you want to feel his consciousness and begin to experience the consciousness from which he wrote the music and the spirit with which he lived his life, if you want to actually start to own that for yourself, then sing his music and become an instrument for his music yourself. And that can start, in the privacy of your meditation room, listening with the earbuds and just trying to sing the songs through your own mouth and sing along with the choir. However you do it, it doesn't have to be some exotic, suddenly you become a choir singer of great renown or something. But just to let that music work its way through you, it's the most amazing thing.
We have both been choir directors, for decades, and one of the main comments that I've heard over and over and over through the years is that people will come up to me after a rehearsal and they'll say, I almost didn't come tonight because of, a multitude of different excuses through the years, but then they would say, but I did, and I'm so glad I came because I was tired, I was grumpy, I was upset, I was whatever. And it just changed my consciousness to have the music flowing through your body and your mind. You really have to do pranayama to sing. And when you're singing uplifting vibration, then your consciousness is changed. And that's the key to Ananda music. It changes consciousness. And it's actually one of the best kept secrets at Ananda, that it helps on so many levels in so many ways. And I know for me, singing Swami's music and Master's chants has been one of the greatest helps to me on the spiritual path.
In just to go a little farther with what I was saying about this music, the oratorio music and the harmony parts, the choral songs that have harmony, those represent kind of all of us working together devotionally to sing. So you have basses, tenors, altos, and sopranos. But it's also struck me that if you just look at that from the inside, we are not necessarily in harmony with ourselves either. So if you tune into that music, it gets the bass, the tenor, the alto, and the soprano parts of yourself to work in harmony together also. And, we are often at cross purposes to ourselves. There's
thwarting cross currents
of ego. Yeah, one part of us wants to meditate. One part of us is thinking, oh, but I really wanted to see that movie. And another part is, oh, but my family, has been bugging me to this or the other thing. And it's like we have to harmonize all of that. And it takes more energy to do that. And Swamiji's music helps us to find that in ourselves. It's an actual experience and a beautiful one. And Swamiji himself really loved this music. And, we listened to it frequently. It was Secrets of Love, it was the oratorio, especially at Christmas time and Easter, the oratorio was on many times in our house. And sometimes other music too, but, that was the main thing. So.
And when we think about how we're going to spend the precious moments of our lives, what are we going to put our energy into? What are we going to focus on? It's really important to choose influences that are positive and can keep us moving in the right direction. You think of human birth is hard won and extremely valuable. It's said that even the gods are envious of a human birth because so much can be grown through, so much evolution can take place during a human life. And so choosing influences carefully is very important if we want to get anywhere. We have to choose our friends carefully. We have to choose our input, and music is a big part of that. I remember once sitting in with Swamiji. We had gone to a bookstore in a mall, and then, as he often loved to do, we would stop for a coffee afterwards, just have a little outing that was fun for him. And we were sitting there in the coffee shop, and the rock and roll American music was blaring, and he just said, I wish India and America would connect at the head instead of at the toe. Meaning, take what's good from America instead of this incredible cacophony that calls itself music. And with the chants too, we have ancient Indian chants, which I personally adore. Shiva and Krishna chants in particular, I love them. But they do have power. I feel that power. But Yogananda's chants and Swami's chants are our own family. And so it's that particular ray of consciousness that we're trying to attune ourselves to in every aspect of our lives. So you'll notice, like in the Spiritual Renewal Week Kirtan that we did last summer with Bara and Shamini and his brother Vayu and Surya and people from all over, we had just a little masala, just a little a Krishna chant, a Shiva chant, just a little bit, and then the rest was Master and Swami. So I would recommend that we try to have that balance, because it's their particular ray that we're trying to attune ourselves to.
And it's something that is given to us and has been given to us with a lot of love. And I cannot begin to tell you how many times Swamiji sat in the first row, right on the aisle. His seat was on one side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle center. So, he'd be sitting like 10 feet from us or 15 feet from us when we'd be singing in one of these concerts. And the first few times, I was petrified. I was terrified of singing in front of him, especially the first time I ever did a solo in front of Swamiji. Oh my God, I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. It's just, this trepidation. And and it was, over the years, it was made worse by the fact that his hearing was starting to deteriorate. And so he would get this look on his face that was sort of pained. It was because he was trying to hear. It wasn't because he was wasn't liking the music. But meanwhile, if you were on the stage thinking he didn't like what he was hearing and he was, expressing displeasure, oh my God, you just feel the vrittis pop like popcorn in your spine. It's just really really warms things up inside, shall we say. So anyway, it's been an interesting, but think of how many times, and every time afterwards, unless it was an absolute disaster, he was so sweet and so supportive and so appreciative of our efforts, whether humble or beautiful. He just supported it. He just energized it. And, his musical taste was extraordinarily refined. He grew up with his own amazing voice, earned after lifetimes of singing devotional bhajans. And, he could have gone to be a professional singer. He had that good of a voice. And so he knew from beautiful music. And, here's all of us just kind of beginners learning our way along as best we could. But he just was always so sweet and generous with just supportive. I had a kind of a funny but very sweet experience. When he wrote the oratorio, I was part of the construction crew that was building Crystal Hermitage. So for those of you who've been to the Crystal Hermitage at Ananda Village, like for the 50th anniversary or whatever, I was part of the crew building those enormous buildings. And we were building around the dome, and then we were building over the dome that he used to live in. And we kept the dome intact for quite a while. And I remember at one point, we were just getting ready to kind of dismantle everything to really, really do remodeling in there. And he had written enough of the oratorio that we had some recordings, and he could actually hear it the way, we were about to produce the album for sale. And so he brought it in to have everyone listen. And he was on the couch sitting in front of me. So I couldn't see his face. But we listened to the music, and I think it was Christ is Risen, the Easter song, had just finished playing, and he had been kind of shaking his head like this. And I thought, uh-oh, because I mean, to me, it was gorgeous. It was just stunningly beautiful. And so afterwards, I asked him, Swamiji, I saw you shaking your head. Was there something that you didn't like? And he said, oh, no, it was just the way I heard it. Now, that means that's what he heard when he was in Israel, when he was in the Holy Land. He was hearing the choirs of angels, and we were becoming his little angels here on this earth. And it was like, wow. So anyway, it was a very sweet thing. I was a little concerned because I thought, God, if that's not beautiful to him, I don't know. We got to go really, really high up to get to beautiful. But no, he loved it. And anyway, it was very sweet.